Hi. Most of this episode is light and fun, but we do get into the subject of death and specifically suicide and assisted suicide from minute 35 to 44. If this is content that you do not wish to hear, please skip over that time. Jen, thank you for being here again.
I know, it's so fun. Thank you for having me.
What song did you just have us listen to?
We just listened to "Let It All Work Out" by Lil Wayne.
I literally had never heard it before, and it was so good. I want to listen to it all day, every day.
I have been, I think, since like April. I'm pretty sure it's been on my. It's the first thing I listen to every time I work out, every time I run, then in the car, then all the time, because that's how I listen.
Yeah. Last time you were on, we were talking about how important friendships are.
Yeah.
I think, weren't we? And when that song came on and I was listening, I was thinking about when I'm in those moments where I don't feel like anything's going to work out and you just need a friend to take you out. The last example was Fair Board meeting. I was texting our friend Shannon, freaking out because the band guy hadn't gotten back to me and we had to vote on it. And she literally had enough of me. She's like, usually when I stop thinking about things, they just work out, Beth. And I'm like, okay, you're right. 10 minutes later, he messaged me. And it had been a week. So I'm like, it happens like that sometimes too.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And it's just I know I bring people out sometimes.
Yeah.
And I need those people to bring me out.
I think that's the whole idea. I love that idea that sometimes the answer is to pull back. Yes. And it's not to try to force everything.
Veda, what does it say on my phone right now? Sometimes you have to try softer, not try harder.
Try softer.
Sometimes instead of trying harder, try softer.
Oh my gosh. That is...
that's the mantra that I need so hard right now.
So then you have to listen to this Lil Wayne song every day. Because, obviously me and Lil Wayne have not had the same struggles. But let's just say, okay, get it. You probably didn't write that song for me. But he's my boyfriend, so obviously you did.
So many people obviously love his music because
he's so relatable. Plus, how can you not love the just wordsmithing? I just love his
it was so flowy.
His little T-Boz and Left Eye and Chili, my favorite TLC. When I was in 8th grade. But we must be similar age because a lot of times he'll have throwback references that remind me of being young.
I feel like he's 20. I feel like I'll always think of him as 20 years old. Why is that?
I don't know, because I think he's probably 5'3" tall and maybe how old. Let's figure out how old Lil Wayne is. I'll look at Betas on it.
Yeah.
42.
Oh, I knew it.
42.
Closer to your age than mine, because I'm an old lady.
He's 5'5".
Is he 5'5"? 5'3" was rude. That was just mean.
How old were you when you first heard his music?
Oh my goodness. My kids were little, so early 2000s maybe? I don't even know when he started making music. I was probably late to the party, let's be honest. Or not. Sometimes I'll find a song on YouTube, I'll be like, you guys, this is such a good song. And Sophie will be like, Mom, that literally came out 7 years ago. I'm like, what?
2005?
Yeah, that's when Sophie was born, so.
Okay, so that was the year after I graduated. So
a Millie and just so millions of many good songs. And he does this collab with Jay-Z, my other favorite rap artist, who I hope Diddy's not going to take down, but I'm pretty sure he's in trouble. Let's just be honest. He was definitely partaking in the trouble. So that's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
So you've been listening when you've been running? You've been running a lot?
I have been running a lot. So just backing it up, I used to run a lot, marathons, half marathons. Always, there wasn't a lot of weeks that I didn't run. And then, I don't know, COVID, some just life circumstances, I just kind of fell out of love with it, or I wasn't taking the time for myself to do the things that made me good. And so I gained some weight and I was really frustrated. And last fall, I signed up for Grandma's Half, and it finally just became time to start some training. And I was half-assing it at the beginning. I'm going to do 2 gym days and an arm day and a leg day. And I really felt good just getting back into the gym. And then I was kind of half-assing the running part. And finally one day I was on the treadmill and I was like, listen, bitch, you're in this bitch. And you cannot make yourself, this is not going to feel good until you just run.
Nobody's
have
coming
to
to
run.
save you. You just have
No,
to do it.
you have to, you can't walk. Like, I didn't want to be hard on myself because I have had a mindset of like a very black and white mindset about exercise in the past. And that is because of other circumstances, like something that I've had to really work on. And I will talk about that at some point, but not right now. And anyways, I decided that I just had to like get more miles in and not post around anymore. So once I started doing that, then running got easier again. And then I remembered why I love it. I was like, oh, I can run.
Feels
Not
so
fast.
good.
So much slower than I used to be. Painfully much slower. But I'm at least 7 years older than the last time I really ran. And like ran for like actual like length. And yeah. So I'm just trying to be nice to myself about it.
And did you start off like lifting more? Because I remember you were lifting for a while. Did that like help you get in the
Yeah,
mindset?
it helped. I think just like not skipping any workouts and like making sure I was working out like an hour a day at least, like 6 days a week. Because my mental health greatly improves. And the interesting part about running, the other cool stuff that it does, because I probably have ADHD, let's just not let the therapist diagnose herself, but I think it could be a consensus. It strengthens my mental game for like concentration and also willpower.
100%.
It's wild. So every time I go, I just want to walk, and then I just keep running. It's the same way I go like, I would like another drink, and then I'm like, no, you don't. You need to go to bed. Or like, maybe I'll just bum a smoke. Okay, I've been failing on that lately, but also I'm not horking down packs of cigarettes. So, but I could be. But I think it like whatever that muscle is, like willpower / self-control, is very helpful for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm so obsessed with the idea of getting the hardest thing out of the way in the morning, but then that stops me from running later. Like, then I'm like, I'm not going to run out after work. I'm just going to run tomorrow morning, and then like...
You know what's crazy? So same. So I have the same thing. So I was always planning to do all my runs after work. Well, it's just too late because my brain starts obsessing about it. So I always used to run first thing in the morning when I was like in my old running days. I'm not so attuned to getting up in the morning. I think it's going to come. I've done it like twice. But so then I started like going on any no-shows that I have or like my lunch breaks and just like making myself do it. When I don't know what I was doing with all that time before because my charts are caught up.
And can you run at the hospital?
I do. I just change.
You have clothes there? And
yeah,
you just
I have clothes,
change?
and then I just go sweat it out. And they're like, everyone's like, oh, aren't you sweaty when you get back? I'm like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
really, I just change and it's fine.
Nothing else matters. Nothing is more important.
The run in and the earlier in the day I can do it, you're right, is better. So I've just kind of made friends with the midday workout. It's weird.
But like I should tell myself like, yes, it's okay to run in the evenings until you are feeling better and can start waking up. Because like I know once I get in a routine, then like waking up is going to be so much easier.
I can tell you right now that one of the keys to like being able to get back into this has been being kinder to myself than I ever was, because I can get really rigid. Like I hear you saying like I have this kind of rigid belief I need to go in the morning.
Yeah.
So yes, just give yourself a bunch of grace.
Yeah.
And if it works at night, do it at night. And if it doesn't work, just make sure you tell yourself you're gonna, I don't know when it flipped, but I'm just not missing runs. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And if I feel like unmotivated to run, then I'll just throw my weighted vest on and go like, okay, I'm at least gonna go walk 2 miles. And by then I'll usually throw my vest off and go for a run.
Yeah, I have weighted arm and leggy things, and I always forget. I gotta just like put them in the middle.
I just leave them in my car.
So I can just remember to put them on, because then walking feels like way more productive.
I know.
I forget about that.
Feels like it matters.
Yeah.
So ultimately it's been really fun to re-excavate something that I kind of had put to bed and remember really why I loved it so much. I sleep so much better. I'm so tired at night.
Today was my first day running in like 5 days, and my goal was to run so hard that I made myself cry, which I'm usually not that horrible to myself, but...
Did you cry?
I don't think any tears came out, but like a little watery, like where I'm like, okay, I feel like this was the release that I needed. It's just been a rough week because I think I was like overdosing on magnesium. Like, just kidding. But I was taking
Actually,
it.
that could be.
Yeah, I was taking
why
it.
your tummy's not right.
Oh,
Do you know that?
oh, okay. Good to know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was
real.
taking it with breakfast, and I was so deadly tired every day this week. So finally, I was like, looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, this was supposed to be taken at night. I just haven't been eating. I've been fasting at night a lot. So that's why I switched to taking it during the day and just wasn't thinking. But so like now, no, if I take it, it has to be at night because it was making me like, it was hard to walk. It was hard to breathe. So anyways,
I
that's
take
why
it
it's
to
just
sleep.
been a rough week. And so just like getting this run out this morning, then I had a great day. And now I think I can get back into routines.
You can. This is the routine. And I think in the beginning, I just seriously questioned that I could really do it. I really didn't even believe that I could do it. And then one day it just snapped. I was like, you have to run. That's all you have to do. Just shut up, put your clothes on, and go.
What do you think made that snap, that awareness?
I think I was having another one of those like kind of half-assed runs where I was like walking and running. It was like taking forever, and I was annoyed with myself. And I was like, just run.
Yeah.
So then, yeah,
Yeah.
it just kind of clicked. Like, duh, running's gonna get easier if you just run. I'm much more sore than I was when I was young. Well, it stings a little. Like my recoveries takes longer, but yeah, that's really you. I think the brain craves like that kind of release. And then when you think about like in relationship to sobriety, the more tools you have in your tool bag that aren't any kind of use, the more that becomes like your fallback. Like I look forward to my run, just like I would look forward to a glass of wine. Because it truly gives me, like, I'm remembering that it gives me the same kind of peace. So, and that, like, wine really gives me peace. It gives me a hangover that makes me want to die. So.
But when you're consistently running, do you think you drink less wine? Like when you do drink?
Oh, yeah.
And less cigarettes?
Yes. Less sneaky smoking, all of it.
It's just like, it's the one thing that should be, no matter what, the non-negotiable thing is just working out.
Oh, and it's, yeah. For years it was, and I just let it go. It was done.
The endorphins, the dopamine hits, everything that you get from it, like.
I have a plinko that happens in my brain where like everything gets ordered, and like I make lists and I think about what I'm going to do. It's very much.
Yes, and guess what? Then I listened to Bach this morning because I think the run made me think clearer
Oh my
already.
gosh, that's right.
So then I put Bach on my whole house as loud as I could because that helps you organize your thoughts. And I'm like, and I did have a really good day. I mean, I was more productive than any other day this week for sure. And I feel like, yeah, even before we recorded, I'm like, I'm going to go home and just like shut my eyes for 10, 15 minutes. And then I just didn't because like something else came up and I felt like doing that more. So
that energy boost is really real.
So it's like one good decision at a time. Like running made me think of the good decision of listening to classical music, which is like proven scientifically to organize your thoughts. And yeah, I mean, I just did have a really good day.
It is kind of like a building self-care routine. Like then I bought new workout clothes and that was really fun. And now
Which makes a difference too. Like,
God.
if you have fun workout clothes, it just, you
want
want to
put
work
them
out
on.
more.
Yeah, you're like, this is really cute. And I am just the queen of, what am I going to say? Like not being very self-indulgent that way. Like I'm not like, I'm going to buy myself a new running outfit. No, that is not. I'm like, I'm going to wear these shorts that I've had for 27 years. Like, and I've passed that on to some of my children, not all of my kids. And I just feel a little bad about it. Like, it's okay. Like, we can buy new things for ourselves and enjoy them. So I know that sounds like an opposite lesson of like growth, except for me, it's different because I've always been like a super minimalist when it comes to like, I will wear these sandals right here, truly, honestly, deeply, through the whole entire summer. These will be the only shoes I wear. One pair, that's all. So
you're proud of yourself when you spend money. And
yeah, a little, like I
well,
actually
like on the last episode when I was proud that I missed that meeting. Like, you know?
Right. Yeah, for me, it's just like, I'll get into like indecision freeze. You know, like I don't want to, I can't go buy new shoes because what if I didn't get the best shoe that I should have got? Or like, I have bought, this is my third pair of these sandals because they're the same.
Yeah, but then you know every outfit that they're going to go with. And
which
it
is
does make life
by the
easier.
way, every single outfit.
Yeah. Because I was like freaking out yesterday, like overly tired, and the like decisions.
Ugh.
Like I'm so sick of making decisions. Like I can't make it
Decision
easy. Like what I'm gonna have for lunch.
Decision fatigue
Yeah.
is real when you're boss lady and like you do, right? And do you just get like, do you find yourself like drilling into the details too far and just overthinking? That's when you have to let it all work out.
But yes, and that's what running does. Or I had some quote that I read this morning too that was like, running will make you stop overthinking. And if that's all it did,
Kind of.
sign me up. Oh my God.
For years, Jake would say, you're like a dog off a leash. Like you really are much easier to be around when you run in the morning. Right? Because I've always been a little pent up, like have a lot of like, busy energy that doesn't really go anywhere. And so running just seems to like order that. I really missed it. And I was really scared that I truly couldn't do it. Like I was really afraid I couldn't just go back to it. So
Yeah. And now next time that you have to do something hard, even if you don't consciously remember it, hopefully your brain will be like,
hey,
I know I can do hard things.
Right.
I did this. Super hard thing because running is hard.
it is hard. And everyone's just a little bit different. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I have this ticked. And then the next time I'm like, this is horrible. Why am I dying?
Yeah. Like I had a really, really good run today and I ran really fast. But I should prepare myself for next time. It might not be.
I've always had a
That's
theory
smooth.
that like if a run starts out easy, it's going to end hard. And like if it starts out hard, it's going to end easier.
And then it's just like telling myself, like, I haven't had to do this lately because I've been craving running, but just put on your shoes and walk, and then you'll want to run.
You will. Because
That's what I had to do for years. It was just like, just tell yourself you're going for a walk, and it will turn
trick yours.
into a
Don't
run.
tell. Shh,
Yes.
don't tell us.
Trick,
We're
trick,
actually
trick.
going for a run.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually did that today. It was like getting hot out and I was tired and I have a little Achilles hang up after my long run this weekend, which I had hurt in the past and I do not want to hurt again. So I told myself it was okay to just go do a weighted walk. But then like halfway through it, I'm like, I'm going to go drop this off and go for a run.
Yeah.
But then Lily called and so then I chatted with her instead. So, oh, and I talked to your mom.
But that's great that you had the urge.
I did. I was really walking back to my car to throw my vest in and go for a run when I first talked to Shannon and then Lily. So.
It's amazing. And also, I've been feeling like, oh, it's nice outside. I should run outside. But I felt like running on my treadmill. And then with the fires, the Canada fires, this morning I was like, oh, now I have an excuse to run inside. And I should always let myself, if that's what's going to get me running.
Doesn't matter. If you like to run inside, run inside. If you prefer like a run wherever, just whatever it takes. But like as we talk, I'm just sitting here thinking how many mental tricks it really takes to get yourself motivated.
Yeah,
You know that you have 7,000 thoughts a day.
really.
Isn't that a lot? Do you know what's really
Where do
crazy?
they even come from? Like, who puts them in my brain?
Everywhere. They come from your senses. Like the trick with thoughts is to not, because thoughts also come with emotion, like a lot of time. Then the trick is to like sort out which ones you're going to pay attention to.
Yeah, are we thinking beings with emotions, or are we emotional beings with thoughts?
I think we're emotional beings with thoughts.
Yeah.
Because thoughts are just like so throwaway and trash sometimes, and you can just get yourself stuck on the dumbest things that are not even true. And like this week in therapy, I have just really become so, I don't know, sad maybe? Just how mean people are to themselves. Truly, like internal thought process, how hard people are on themselves, like perfection, like this kind of idea. Like sometimes you have to go softer, not harder. Sometimes you just gotta let it all work out and like release your vice grip on yourself. Like my favorite thing to say is always, "There's not a problem to solve." I'm sorry that you're not a problem to solve, but you can make yourself one. You can make your whole life a problem to solve.
You just got to get out of your own way.
Freaking
And
miserable.
like my invasive thoughts lately have been like when I think somebody's like mad at me or upset with me, and then like for weeks I'll be like, yeah, they're mad at me, and I'll convince myself, and I'll just like feel the sadness in my body, and then like finally talk to them and like, no, everything's fine. They're just
not.
busy. Guess what? Like the world doesn't revolve around you. They have a
Right.
life.
Are
But
you
I'm like
sure?
convinced that they hate me, and I can't figure out why. And it's like, why does my brain obsessively like to do that? But hopefully I can just keep running and keep
It helps.
not letting those thoughts penetrate.
Is it when you're PMSing?
I don't know when
By
I
any
do
chance?
because I
Oh,
don't.
that's right.
I don't have
That's right. That's right.
periods.
My 3 main thoughts when I'm PMSing are, Why is it so loud?
Loud.
Why is it so loud? Everybody hates me, and I hate everybody.
How many days do you PMS for?
Like 2 or 3. Yeah. It's just loud, and I'm annoyed, and I'm sure everybody hates me, so. My sister and I used to call it everybody went to the cabin without us. It's fine. Everybody's just at the cabin. She didn't invite me. And then, like, as soon as I catch one of those thoughts, I'm like, oh, check my period tracker. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's PMS. Oh, the other one is how ugly I am. Like, I'll find myself in the mirror, and I'm just like, oh, my gosh. When did I get this ugly? This is so ew.
Yeah, I never
So
remember
gross.
that can be a PMS thing. Because, yeah, that just like spirals into the deepest depression. There's like nothing worse than those couple days in a row where every time you look in the mirror, you just feel so hideous. And you're like, how do people look at me? How do people even
horrible.
be around me?
Yeah, and it's literally just hormones. And speaking of, not to get super personal, but I saw an integrative medicine doc like 2 weeks ago, and she was so cool. So she did like all these like deep dive, like I have a thyroid condition anyways. So she's like, let's fine tune that bad boy. Then she's like, let's look at all your hormones. She's like, you're definitely in perimenopause. You probably need some progesterone and some estrogen. Like, so she did all these labs, and then she did like a gut health panel. So that's kind of fun. She told me to drink bone broth, which I think is still sitting in my Amazon cart.
I don't know what the brand is that I like, but it's powder packets.
Yeah.
And there's like a chicken flavor, a beef flavor, and a ramen flavor. And the ramen I'm obsessed with, and all of them. And so, yeah, I try and drink one or two a day.
Put them in hot water.
And they're delicious.
Are they?
This brand.
So it's like, it tastes like soup.
Bear and, can you look it up? Barre, bear and something.
Okay.
Yeah, and the packets are just easy to bring wherever.
She's like, start with bone broth immediately. Okay.
Like one of the first things in the morning, I either do greens or protein shake or bone broth.
Okay. I'm on it. I think that's
Or
for good health.
electrolytes.
I don't know.
Bare bones.
Bare bones? Yeah.
I'm going to put it in my notes so I don't forget. Okay.
Kettle and Fire is really good. I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one too.
So another theme this week has really been, I just am so fascinated by people's like level of awareness, right? So I always think awareness is like this spectrum. And like I would say, I would put you very in the aware category of the spectrum. So like if you walk into therapy offices, I'm sure your therapist or whoever, if you've ever done that, is like, oh sweet, like we're starting way over here with this girl. Like change will come probably more quickly. And then there's like this side of the awareness spectrum in which this person has like very little actual internal awareness of like what makes them tick, their thoughts, like their actions, like the way they are, like appear in the world. And that takes a lot longer. And it's just been so interesting. You know, I apply this theory a lot, especially when I first meet someone. And sometimes people's awareness is like so cool and so through the roof, and everyone gets there in such different ways. But sometimes a lack of awareness like looks really lovely,
Fun.
kind of sweet,
Seriously.
kind of nice. I don't hate it.
Seriously, yeah.
Just to be just. But what I was sort of going with was like a lot of times though when you're in this like healing space, awareness is you're moving more quickly this way towards awareness than like stuck back here. It's way hard to do healing over here. Do healing if you don't have any awareness.
Yeah.
So you have to like teach presence and awareness and like paying attention, like some, you know, to autonomic thoughts and like the way you speak to yourself, all kinds of rules and lessons and
Yeah.
work to do.
I say that to Katie Jo like once a year. I feel like I'm like, why do I have to care so much about healing and growing? Like, why can't I just
chill,
not care and just live life and just have fun and just be happy? Why do I always have to be having goals and focusing on getting better? You know?
So why do you think?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Has it always been that way, or did you hit a spot of awareness? You've always
No, I
been.
think it's always I've always been into spirituality and growing for as long as I can remember.
Like how lovely, but also exhausting,
Yeah.
right? So maybe like when we go again back to that song, like sometimes you have to go softer. Like sometimes you really have to give yourself a figure out how to get a break from all of the, I always call it like climbing this mountain, you know, like we can't always climb the mountain. Sometimes you really have to stop and look out and just look at how far you've come. And then sadly, sometimes we just tumble down that bitch and you're just right back where you started. And you're like, I often hear in therapy, like, it doesn't feel like I'm any different than I was 2 years ago. Yeah, like sometimes you don't feel different, but you've made different choices.
But make a list or something, because I do that all the time.
It's hard to measure.
Yeah.
And healing is not linear. You're not just always going to go in a straight path. Like you are going to fall back down sometimes. Like there are steps back. Otherwise, there's no real progress. It's like the idea of, yeah. But I also really, in that case, say like you're just not a problem to solve. So when you're going too hard, you know, that you tend to get like self-punishing or perfecting. That's when you just remind yourself, like, you know what? This is not all a big problem to solve.
And maybe running could help me with that, because I've never consistently ran. I'll run for like a month once a year, and then like a couple times throughout the year, but like never consistently, you know? So maybe that could help.
Does do kind of like a brain sweep, like starts you in a much more clear space. Just like meditating, if you've ever been able to stick with meditating, which is so, my goodness, so cliche and so hard. It's just such a practice.
I've been good at it though, and my whole personality has changed. I feel like I should ask my nephews at work, like, I think I'm way nicer to you guys and like calmer. Do you guys notice? Because I feel like I'm a different person since I've been really like at least 20 minutes a day.
What do you think that it brought to you? What do you think it changed?
I think I'm just able to think before I speak, not react so fast, like when something's getting to me. I mean, I still did today. I sent Isaac 4 emails before 7 a.m. And on the 5th one, I'm like, sorry I blew up. Like, but, and, you know, and I don't think that I'm mean. I don't think he thinks, oh, Beth's being mean. But to me, like for my standards, I think I was just a little too aggressive. And so I still do that. Even though I meditate, I'm still like, you know, a little bit crazy person. But compared to like how my body normally would have felt, like my chest would have been tight. I would have been like, I have to figure this out ASAP. And everything needs to be worked out before I can think about anything else. But now I'm just much more like, take a breath.
Yeah.
Wait for things to unfold themselves.
It's
not that hard, but my brain doesn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of times, like neurotypical brains have the ability to grind on things and make them more complicated than they need to be. Have you ever met really fast decision makers? Like, it can be a little scary because you're like, but I feel like you're not considering every single thing you could ever worry about it.
Yeah, no, I'm super fast decision maker. Like, I decide super fast, and it's usually worked out for me.
So foot triggers might drive you a little insane, like long, drawn-out decision-making, like looking at every option, A through Z. Yeah.
It's super hard for me to be around people doing that. I mean, I wish I could be more like that, like, because, a lot of times it hasn't been good for me making fast decisions.
I was like, this podcast, I was like, what are we going to talk about? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll probably just figure it out.
So you said you wanted to talk about death, and
oh, did I? I lied.
Well, it made me think, like, I am so lucky. I mean, I haven't had to have too many experiences with death. My grandma on my mom's side, or on my dad's side, died when I was like 3 or 4. And my grandma on my mom's side is still alive. She's 96.
Right.
And both my grandpas died in their 90s. And I've had some friends die, but, like, you know, I hadn't seen them for a couple years. So, like, I haven't had these horrible.
We've had like the typical deaths. Not that any death is amazing or great, but
nothing super close. But I was thinking, the most traumatic one for me was Matthew from Downton Abbey.
Shut
up.
Like
I literally wore black for 2 weeks.
I stopped.
Hearing the word Matthew was like a trigger word for me.
I literally stopped watching for like I never finished the season.
Oh, I finished, but then I rewatched only up until he died. And then I'm like, I'm done with the show.
Yeah, I actually never watched the 6th season because of that. Because I was just, I don't know. It just broke my heart.
He's the best.
It was terrible. It was the worst choice ever. I don't know how people went on after that.
I know.
My mom and I actually still talk about when we're going to finish Downton someday. And this is how long ago? A decade?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think about it.
Still one of the most traumatic deaths of my life.
Okay, we are definitely trivializing deaths right now, but
No, I know. I'm
that
not
sucked.
making a joke. I'm just so
Yeah,
lucky.
we
Obviously,
should always.
nobody is immune to death.
I think
and
we
it will
should
hit
always
me.
make a death. I mean, we should always make a joke.
Make a joke about
Let's
death.
not make a death.
Yeah.
Actually, I think, I personally have had a lot of very normal deaths, like not dealt with a lot of death. My dad is in hospice right now, which, I mean, at 80, you could call like a typical death, but he's my dad. So that's just dumb
No kidding.
and kind of shitty. He's having like a nice typical death if you can. Like his symptom load is really low. He's a very easy human to like, I don't know. He's a pretty content guy. So he's not having a lot of symptom burden. He's bored. I think that's probably the worst of it. And my mom is tired because she's doing everything. And it's, I don't know that it's like imminent, but it's, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he died tomorrow, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he lived till next year. So like, that's the kind of death we're talking about. In my work, I deal with a lot of grief and a lot of people who deal with death. And it's probably the thing I do the most. On my hospital side work, I dealt with real live death a lot, like traumas and hard things and not great things. They were not my deaths, but I have been a witness to a lot of death and its effect, and it's devastating. And the strange sort of thing that I've recently, say I work with like an older population mostly, is how our brains protect us from death. Because I have, several older clients, and they're starting to have things happen to them that like make you examine your own mortality. And it's so strange sometimes when like they have never done that before, but they're like in their 80s, and they're just like, super frustrated by the symptoms or the diagnosis itself, or just, it's kind of like being flabbergasted about something we all know is going to happen. And this, like, the disruption that it causes in your own life and what you feel about it and how frustrating it is to, like, lose your faculties. And then there's just, like, a million other kinds of grief and death, like unexpected deaths, all the things. And watching people in grief is just a really sacred space because it's such a lonely place, like you may be grieving like alongside other people, but really grief is very much, I think, like childbirth. Like you're the only one pushing that kid out. In the same way as you were the only person who had that relationship with that person. And whether other people are in that grief with you or not, it's a really lonely place. And I think a lot of them feel like, they're just walking around and they look normal on the outside and are just completely changed on the inside by the grief.
I can say the loneliest I've ever been in my entire life is after my dad got diagnosed with cancer, and before we knew that it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that the next 4 days were
Scary.
lonely would be the feeling.
Yeah, because all of you have a different relationship with your dad, and you just don't know. Like you're really faced with the mortality of someone that you love dearly.
Yeah. And I think I told you this, but I spent the night at my grandma's last weekend because she fell. She's in assisted living, but there's only one person on staff at night, and she needed to lift her up to go to the bathroom. And I'm on the couch. Her bedroom is right there with the door open. And in the middle of the night, I heard her scream out, "Please, God, just take me tonight. I can't take it anymore." And I mean, that's just horrible to hear.
Right.
I mean, her brain is there. She knows that we're reading Little Women right now. Every time, if I'm not there for a week, I'm like, "Do you remember what book we're reading?" And she knows, So, I mean, she's so there, but her body is failing her. And she's been saying she wants to die for years. Yeah. But it's so funny what you said, because maybe 3 years ago when she was still living at home, she had a gallbladder burst or something. And we went and we brought her to Mercy or somewhere, and my mom and I are there, and the doctor before surgery is like, "So do you want us to resuscitate you or not if the surgery doesn't go well?" And she looks at me and my mom and says, "Well, what do you guys think?" And we're like, "You always say you want to die, but obviously we're not going to say that you should say do not resuscitate." So we're like, "Yeah, you can say it." And she's like, "Okay, I'll say it." And that's happened a couple other times now too, where she says she wants to die, but like the doctors, I guess, were talking about taking her off her heart medication, and she doesn't want to. So it's like,
She's
okay.
like, no, but not that kind of dye. Like,
Yeah,
not for real.
Right.
Like the pretend kind, where I don't really do it.
Right. And somebody just told me maybe it was you that like dialysis patients, once they decide to go off their medicine, it's 2 days.
It's
so that
2
would be
days.
such a tough decision. But I think about that a lot. Like, Kelsey has said a couple times, like, oh, when we're that age. And I'm like, when we're that age, I definitely think assisted suicide will be legal because it is in.
I'm so glad that you just said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why shouldn't you be able to choose your ending without it being like, okay, we all know like all the caveats around suicide and how hard it is and how traumatic for families. But if you are in a spot where you are just miserable anyways, guess what? That's also miserable for your family. So I really do. I
I wrote a paper about this in like 8th grade.
yeah. And you were like,
I
yeah,
feel very strongly about it. Yeah. In a
why?
good way.
Because why would you just lay there and fart dust? That's just ridiculous and unfair.
And when you're in pain.
Or in pain.
Somebody from my grade committed suicide. He was in the military, and then he had such bad arthritis that he was addicted to painkillers. And then he wanted to get sober before he killed himself. And he talked to a pastor every day for a year. But still got to the point where he didn't. If there was other rules in place where he could have done it in a healthier way instead of
Scary.
and hard for the family. I mean, you know,
for
your family
sure.
might still do nothing but talk you out of it, but
Yeah.
if you can, you know, leave a letter, say, I went and I just went to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
I mean, I haven't been in that position, so it's very controversial, but
I have an aunt who also had like a lot of chronic pain and some mental health issues and like addiction stuff, but I mean, ultimately was not in horrible. Okay, and on to my eyes, she, you know, like didn't look like she was suffering all the time and miserable, but she was, and she drove herself into a semi, and that
on purpose.
just so that sucked. Because I think you know, it's been like 10 years, but it's my mom's sister. But the worst part of it is just not knowing how much she suffered. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, how did you do this? It was just like, how could we miss how suffering? You know, how sad you were.
Yeah.
It makes me, I just want to go back and be like, hold up, what can we do to make this better? Because obviously you're so miserable. And then it was just so damn traumatic.
Yeah, and so like I will admit that like until my early 20s, I thought that committing suicide was a cowardly thing, and I don't at all anymore.
No.
Just because of different brain chemical, like when I have gone through a small burst of depression, and it's like, whoa, if I felt like this every single day, I can't
like
imagine.
for years,
and then when I went off
years,
when I went off of brain medication, and I had these brain zaps. Or actually, my whole body would zap. Is that a thing? I think
it is when you're
I'd
coming
have, like,
off.
maybe every couple hours, I'd have this zap.
Yeah.
And it's like people that are dealing with that because they can't get their medication right. And like, literally,
it becomes so.
if somebody is thinking about killing themselves, I can't imagine the suffering. They're not just.
No, it's not like, oh, I'm just being selfish and leaving. Sure, I'm sure death like that absolutely happens, right? Because of terrible things that have happened, whatever. But I think a lot of it is just the absolute suffering.
Because I wouldn't say I thought it was cowardly. I thought it was selfish. But now it's so funny as you get older, you're like, and your whole views can change because absolutely not.
Right. Like a lot of people just feel like such a burden. And it's just all right? Like the survivors left behind are altered innumerably. Like in assessment, in psych assessment, if you have a mom, dad, if you have a first-degree relative who has committed suicide, you're like 7 times more likely.
Really?
So it leaves this legacy on top of, you know, this pain and grief. However, it also is just, it is born of absolute suffering. So this is why, you know, mental health moving forward, and I've been in this field for about 25 years, and it has changed a lot, and we do talk a lot more about it. I remember being at my friend Sarah's house, and there was like all of our little kiddos were around, and all the kids were like talking about who their therapist is and like how cool it is to go to therapy. They were like all these like teenagers. And I'm like, I do not remember one child going to therapy when I was in high school or talking about it or even knowing mental health terms. And so the pendulum is swinging. We're like able to be more open about it. And it's not a shame. It's not shameful. It's just not shameful to have anxiety. Like it's not shameful to be depressed. Those are just things that you have. And also there's ways to help.
Yeah, when I was bartending, I went to an after party with like maybe 6 or 7 kids that were 10 years younger than me, and they were all talking about how they, when they've struggled with thoughts of suicide. And I was like, me and my friends have literally never talked about this.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like most of my friends have, or like, so is it like, okay, my friends just don't want to talk about it and they're also suicidal at times? Or is it the next generation? Is it the...
And I have a weird lens because I sit in a therapy office, but I say all the time, like when people share, like if they have suicidal thoughts, I'm like, it's probably more common to have them than not to. Like, but they don't have to be scary. And the best thing to do with them is to get them out in the air so that, this idea that if we say it, people will do it. No. If we don't talk about it and the isolation, that's when those things
When you
happen.
feel like you're the only one going through what you're going through.
Yeah, it's one of the contributors anyways. There's a
The only
million
feeling,
factors.
because then you're like, it's spiraling like, I'm the only one who feels this way about myself. Like if you can know that other people feel that way too, then you're not isolated, like you said.
And honestly, the most effective tool in therapy is just normalizing experiences, because so often we get tunnel vision about what we're experiencing and how we must be the only ones feeling this. And it turns out 8 million other people in the world are feeling very similar things, and that it's completely normal. And just intrusive thoughts is the thing I think of, because, it's not in everybody's like mental health, like for vernacular, but I think most of us probably know what an intrusive thought is at this point. But when we first started talking about it, I mean, people will just come with such shame about these thoughts that, are just so, like I was afraid, my baby was going to jump over the banister or whatever, when you know perfectly well that that was just a thought and it can just go. And you're probably not going to pull your own hair out, and you're probably not going to like eat poop out of a toilet or swerve, like those are just, they're not happening. You have like a logical brain that will stop you from doing those things.
What's the difference between SI and
Suicidal ideation.
yeah, just suicidal thoughts?
So ideation means like you probably think about it a lot, or it's an escapist kind of thought. But intent means you probably have a plan. You've probably taken steps to like gather things to like, really the thing in assessment that I've always differentiated with is, do you have a plan? Do you have access to a way to do that? Have you thought about it? Are you actively planning to be not in this world? And ideation is like, like a lot of, like we talked about PMDD earlier, like ideation is a really strong part of PMDD. I have not experienced it personally, but I have people who do it all the time. They just fight that, like
they make steps and then they fight not to do it.
It's more like it's just a thought that's there. They're probably not, they don't really want to die and they're not going to take action. It's just this sort of like escapist, like, there's always that. It's just like especially people who feel stuck, like it's a way out. Most of them would not act on it, and it scares them to have those thoughts. And it really scares them to say it out loud. But the best thing is to be like, tell somebody. Tell somebody you're feeling that way. And then you can just be guided for support or help. And this is my other thing I want to talk about today. Holy moly, we are shitty at supporting people. Humans in general. Like, first of all, people don't know how they want to be supported because that is just not something we do in this independent society of ours. We're like, oh no, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm just over here like handling this myself and just getting better and like doing all the things. Bullshit. Right? But the challenge with that is, what kind of support do you like?
Yeah.
How do I support someone else? I'm going to just read you this dumb, stupid thing that happened today in a stupid forum. Okay, I'll actually just, it was like a abuse forum, and this woman was basically shaming another lady for not leaving a situation. And I was just being a
This was
troll.
on social media or
Yeah,
something?
right. And I was just like being a troll about it. And I was just like, hey, let's be careful about victim blaming, sis, with a heart, right? And this bitch fires back at me. And she's just like, I don't understand how you think I was victim blaming and don't call me sis. And I was like, well, your judgmental tone and all the advice you just gave that victim made them most likely feel unsupported. And I was just like, do you know that a lot of people don't know how to support other people? Advice is usually not that helpful. Telling people what to do is usually not that helpful. But asking someone, like, how can I be here for you? And I feel like just text me sometimes or make sure you call me. But don't fucking tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be told what to do. Nobody is in your shoes. That does not work. It's not helpful.
I'm super
Advice. Ooh.
I'm super passionate about this, but I don't know if I'm even good at doing it yet. But when friends have a problem, like you're supposed to ask them, like, how do you want me to support you? Do you want me to just listen? Do you want me to give advice? Like, what do you want?
Well, I have a
Because
question about that because I've heard negative things with that too, and that gives someone another thing to have to worry about.
Well, there's like, oh,
like
that's
then they
fair.
have to make the decision of how they want support.
I
But
often,
like so many times I've had friends like try and fix things and I'm like, I really don't need it fixed.
It's actually
I
stressful
literally
when you
just
try to
want
fix
you to
it.
listen. So
Yeah.
maybe don't ask, but maybe if you know, maybe you just have to take responsibility yourself. And if you know how
You
you
can
want to be
usually
supported,
tell.
otherwise wait and figure out how.
Right. And then I think somehow at times how you're approaching like sharing your challenge with somebody else is sort of, if they're intuitive, they can usually catch what you're
Yeah.
trying to lay down, but that is not always, this is where we fail, because this is why asking the question, this is why as a person giving support, it is okay to say, do you want me to help you solve this problem or do you just want me to listen?
Yeah.
Because most people's bent is to start solving. And I have to pull myself back so hard from solving because even in therapy, it's not about solve. Like, no, I'm not there to solve.
You sent me that podcast that one time. This had to have been last fall. I know I was driving up to Floodwood and it was these sisters or who was it? But it was all about that. I don't know.
We'll get back. We'll try
Yeah,
to think
we'll
of
have
it.
to look through text. But
Was it Love Realized? Was it like, it's called like Love Realized. It's sort of this question about, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
We'll figure it out.
I'm not sure. But yeah, being supportive has been a big theme for me the last couple weeks too, because like releasing these first episodes and some of the people like closest to me who haven't said anything, I got like really down on myself and really depressed. But then finally through a million epiphanies, realizing that like, okay, well, I'm not good at supporting people through death because I haven't dealt with it and I don't know how to. So like, I can't be mad at other people for not supporting me how I want to be supported. And yeah.
maybe you don't know how to be supported.
Because there's probably
If you put it like back in your core, like,
yeah, you're
do
right.
you even know what you like? Do
No.
you like feedback? Do you like just to mention, like, how's it going? Do you just want people to check in with you? Is like,
No,
you don't even know.
You're right. I don't even know how I want it.
Right.
But there's so many ways that I could be bad at it too. And there's so many different levels of what friendship is
And it's
how they're there for
excusable.
you.
It is an excusable offense because it is a learning process to learn how to support people. But I think just empathy and genuine concern, being curious is one of the things that constantly drives through my head when I'm trying to listen to someone. And I can be a really shitty listener. My ADHD loves to jump in and be like, oh, that reminds me of this. Oh, I know that. And it's gross. And I
The same
hate
exact
it.
way.
But it's how you like relate to other people too. So
Right. Because I've seen on Facebook, like, don't,
it's a big girl adult skill. It's really tough.
like, there's two sides to it. Don't give I can't think right now. My brain is.
The brain is broken.
Yeah.
My friend Matt Allen one time, he said this to me as a young social worker. He goes, make him sit in silence. He's like, you will learn more by shutting your mouth than you'll ever learn any other way. I'm like, ugh, probably when I was that young in my late 20s, my early mid 20s, I probably couldn't even do it. And now I can do it sometimes. love to say I do it all.
Right. It's probably been months since I did it, but I remember being really proud of myself when I did. I just didn't say anything.
People usually share more of themselves if you just listen.
That's why I used to make James, when I wanted him to talk when he was a teenager, like if he drives and he can't be on his phone, and if I just sat there in silence, he would just open up and start talking like crazy, but like so hard for me to not talk for 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
But if I didn't, then I got everything.
I think my girls have done a really good job too of helping me with this because I am definitely a problem-solving advice giver. Right? It's hard not to be. It's a very tasky thing to do. Like, ooh, a problem, let's solve it.
Yeah.
But I think they've been really, my girls are really like forward with me, which is helpful because I only hear things directly. But they'll just be like, no advice, please. Like, to solve this, I just want to, share this with you. Or I'm just like getting this out. Like, I'm just venting. Like,
Yeah.
just find myself shutting my mouth more than I'm telling them anything. So I think it's actually, as my kids' age, is disrespectful for me to think that I have some kind of like leg up or that I know how they should be. And let me tell you, as a mom, that's super hard.
Oh.
Right? Because I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
I know all the things, but I don't know all the things, and I'm not them.
Yeah.
So really,
But that's really self-aware of you to say that you only hear things direct.
oh yeah.
How do you know that about yourself?
Because if there's any like nuance, I will batter it to death in my head and wonder what was meant. I like, and that's a really un-Minnesota thing. Right? I mean, I like, if you can be direct with a nice tone of voice, that'll make me happier. But also, please don't be passive aggressive. Like, it's probably the thing I hate more than anything. Just indirect communication that's just being put out there to like, just say what you mean, please. That would be much more helpful than this creepy dance that's making me have anxiety. Yeah.
Well, okay, it's reminding me of, Veda, do you remember when I opened the door a couple weeks ago and said, hey guys, like when the sign is on, remember like to be quiet? And I came back in and you and Cody are like giggling. I'm like, what's so funny? You're like, we love when like bitchy Beth comes out. And I'm like, how is that bitchy? I was just...
It was so direct. Like, I could not.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know how else to be, like...
It was very admirable.
Oh,
Not everybody's
that's
like
nice.
that.
No.
Especially
nice,
in
but-
Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Veda's a very direct human. Shannon's a very direct human.
I am. It gets me in trouble.
It can. I mean, and you
Yeah,
have
no, I
to.
think
You
it
have
gets
to
me
find that
super
place.
in trouble,
You
like
do.
people have said.
You have to get to that place where you can soften it. I will soften it with most people, but probably sometimes not with the people I love the most.
Yeah, it depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah. And my girls are really direct, and it's helpful. Otherwise, I will just keep being kind of a bull in a china shop sometimes.
When a man is direct, it's normal. When a woman is direct, it's bitchy, for sure, 100%.
I know, it's bullshit.
I was glad my brother Steve was even saying that, like getting passionate about, like, oh, on this podcast they were talking about this and it's so true and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm so glad that you see that, because when I send you a mean text because you didn't show up for a meeting and then I feel bad about it all day, like, okay, I freaked out, a man wouldn't act like that, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, also, my nephews have like broken things, yelled, ripped their clothes off, and, everybody's fine with that.
Yeah,
Like, because if a man does it, it's just passion. If a woman does it,
Crazy.
she's aggressive and crazy and
Yep.
bitchy. And like, oh, she gets so emotional. Oh, but anger and breaking things isn't an emotion.
Yeah, sure is.
Grow up.
One that's literally just meant to control people. So
Yeah.
so much to talk about. Yay.
Anything else, or should we get to trivia?
We should get to trivia. We got a little texted us that we're late.
What time is it?
6:05.
Oh, okay, perfect. We can go jump in some teams.
We'll go. Oh, Barry.
Barry texted. Shout out Barry. Thanks for doing trivia. We're on our way.
We're on our way. We're coming.
All right. Bye. Thanks. Naut comes from the Greek word sailor and means voyager or traveler. Like an astronaut searching the stars, a supernaut is one searching the inner and outer worlds of self, navigating life, consciousness, and reality, striving for betterment. The paradox is that seeking and striving can create more unrest and more unhappiness. So while calm seas may not make great sailors, I plan to explore the idea of light rescuing darkness instead of fighting it.